world is in turmoil. Everything we heard when the ships were still coming. We heard nothing from the other islands. Lots of people want to tell you what to do. What to do.
Hello, good evening. My name is Morganon. Bid you all welcome after a bit longer than I intended to the Risen walkthrough. Yeah, so I didn't think it would take me this long to get back to it. I don't want to make a habit of this long of a delay between episodes, but, you know, life be lifin'. Anyway, to address the elephant that's been in the room for the past few weeks, and one of the reasons why I was kind of holding off on recording for a while was to see if any additional news came out in regards to the, the threat that is befallen Piranha Bytes. If you didn't get the memo, I did make a community post on YouTube about it, where basically, in a nutshell, Piranha Bytes seems to be in a bit of financial difficulty. THQ Nordic, by direction from their supreme overlord and embracer, has pretty much given up Piranha Bytes. Tried to sell them, but nobody was biting. Piranha Bytes, huh? And yeah, basically Piranha Bytes is kind of in limbo right now, where I guess the employees are technically being laid off, but they are not unemployed or have not stopped collecting a salary because of how German laws work. But with that threat looming over them and the question of whether or not they're going to be able to keep the doors open and stay in business, it sounds like a lot of employees have already just given up and left. So it's God knows how many people are still in this, still part of the studio right now, but their only response to all of this speculation has been a single post on various social media as just saying, don't give up on them just yet. I guess we'll see how that actually plays out. Like I said, I was kind of expecting to see something more substantial in the meantime, but that hasn't really happened, so we're just in the wait-and-see game. And I'm not really going to say much more about it because everything's just kind of unofficial sources at the moment. But anyway, to get back to the business of this walkthrough, first thing I want to address... oh my god. What just happened? Oh, I clicked off the screen somehow. That's not good. That shouldn't happen. I'm not really sure how that happened. I hope that doesn't happen again. The cursor should be confined to the screen. Anyway. First things first. The meat that Doug gives you and says to take to Rachel, that has to stay raw meat, because that's the item that she's looking for when you give it to her. So don't cook it. Otherwise you gotta go out and hunt some more yourself. Now, this episode I didn't really plan in ahead very much, because really all we're gonna be doing pretty much is... How many times can I say pretty much in one sentence? All we're going to be doing is talking to everybody here. Probably not going to get a whole lot done, so let's just get to wagging tongues.
Hey.
Hey.
Any trouble today?
No.
You expecting any?
Nah.
Must be fun being a guard.
Not really.
The Don.
Whoops.
Back there in that temple. But my post is here. In the swamp.
Sounds like an important job.
Wasn't supposed to have that line yet. It just seems to be a little bit of a bug in this dialogue.
What exactly do you guard in a swamp?
Flies. The smell. The Don.
What is there round here that people need guarding from?
You must have seen them.
Seen what?
Those things.
Things?
The things from the ruins.
The ruins?
There are ruins everywhere.
The ones that came up from the ground. The ground is warped or something.
That's where these things are.
Yeah. They're all over that excavation site in the middle of the swamp.
And?
They make me nervous.
Why?
They're disgusting.
Uh-huh. You ever have any problems with the locals?
Locals? They give you any trouble, you just smack them around.
Or you could try talking to them.
Yeah, where's that get you?
Who's in charge here?
The Don.
Who?
The Don.
Right. Where is the Don?
In the temple.
Is he religious?
Ha!
So what does he do in there?
Avoids being out here.
You don't talk much.
What do I want to talk for? I don't know you.
Getting anything out of you is like pulling teeth.
That's why I make such a good guard.
All right, let's try this question. Tell me more about these things. The ones in the excavation site.
They're disgusting. Big insect things. I wish someone would get rid of them.
I can. I'd need paying. Say 30 gold coins.
30? Yeah. It's worth that to get rid of those things. They're disgusting.
Keep my gold warm. I'll be back for it. You must have picked up some skills to be a guard.
I know how to fight, and I can handle a crossbow.
Can you train me?
To fire a crossbow? All right. But it will cost you.
I want to improve my fighting skills.
So all he can teach you is crossbow, which isn't the most helpful thing in the world. Now, I'll be honest, I don't actually know, because I never really used crossbows in this game. I don't really know how different they are from archery. They maintain the same mechanical difference in that using bows requires you to hold the draw, whereas crossbows are just always drawn. So I think crossbows just have the advantage you can move around faster while shooting, but you have to wait until it goes to a full draw before you can fire it. So, in general, they're not as bad as they are in, say, the Gothic games. But I don't really tend to use them much. I also don't remember if they use dexterity or strength as their defining attribute. We'll head up that way in a bit. I don't really have a defined order that I'm going to talk to NPCs, so I'm probably just going to do it in the order that I expect people to do when they get here. Which means this guy first, Domingo second.
What do you want?
I don't know. What do I want?
You were looking at me.
I'm new here. I'm just getting to know people.
If you don't know I'm the best fighter in the camp, then you ain't been here long enough for me to care.
Man like you has clearly seen some action.
Well, you know, I don't like to boast, but I've crushed a few heads. If you want to eat here, you have to work. You want a free ride? Try those white robes at the monastery. They'll give you a free ride all the way to their excavation camps. And keep your paws off other people's stuff while you're here, or you'll lose your paws.
That's all this man has to say. So, over yonder, those are the insects, disgusting things that Ricardo wants dealt with. We're not going to deal with them just yet. 30 gold, gonna be honest, doesn't really feel like a fair price for the risk we invite upon ourselves. Alright, I forgot. Why are my quick save not working? Eh? Have I forgotten the buttons? Oh, it is F5. But F5 ain't working. Oh, no. Is it? No, it ain't. No, it ain't. I'm confused. I think I managed to change the inputs in the config file, but all it did was break it. That's questionable. I'm gonna have to figure that out for next time.
Hey.
I've not seen you before. Who are you? A fresh-faced young man eager to experience the thrill of an outlaw's life?
Maybe.
I can't think why else you'd be here. There are warm ale houses and welcoming brothels in the town. Food and indoctrination at the monastery.
Are you a woodcutter for the camp?
Just because I'm cutting wood doesn't mean I'm a woodcutter.
I mean,
Actually,
technically.
I'm a hunter. My lads and I provide meat for the camp.
So you lead the hunters?
Normally, yeah, but as you can see, I've got vital woodcutting work to do. So right now, my hunters are running wild like free spirits. Or they think they are.
Shouldn't you get someone else to cut the wood?
I'd love to, believe me. But Brogar would nail me to a tree if I left this wood unsawn.
Brogar.
One of the Don's lieutenants, the leader of the fighters, a, shall we say, powerful, single-minded man.
And someone from Britain explained to me why the word lieutenant doesn't have an F in it. And in fact is spelled like lieutenant.
And you're his personal woodcutter.
For my sins,
Why does he want you to do it?
I tangled with him, and now I have to pay. We live by Brogar's laws out here.
Brogar's laws, not the Don's.
The Don wants me to hunt, Brogar wants his fire stoked. You judge who's really in charge.
Why don't you stand up to Brogar?
Him and all his fighters, you mean?
So everyone's afraid of him.
You clearly haven't met him yet. Then you'd understand. He's over there. Go and introduce yourself. Then decide whether you'd stand up to him.
I'll do that. I notice he says over there. Doesn't exactly say where there is, but he is the next closest fellow.
Hey,
Did I look like I wanted to talk to you?
whoa there. Someone shoot your dog?
Stupid and mouthy don't wash well round here, especially not from workers.
Do I look like a worker?
Maybe not. You ain't coated in shit. Now enough questions. I'm hungry. Bring me a haunch of fried meat from Rachel, the cook up by the smithy. Bit snooty, but a looker. The Don's a lucky man. Of course, with him in that temple all the time, she might need a bit of company.
I gotta say, Brogar is an impressively ugly man. First of all, having his weird ginger cornrows is unsettling enough. But a strangely, like, semi-braided looking beard that doesn't even reach the bottom of his chin. I mean, just that there's an artistry to the grooming there that I don't want to understand what inspired it.
Waif and stray looking for pity? Or fortune hunter looking for gold? Looks like I've got another mouth to feed.
Are you the cook?
Amongst other things, you have to be adaptable in these times. One day you've a sword in your hand, the next a ladle. And the cooking relaxes me, if you call stirring wild boar and brugelweed cooking. Sorry, forgotten my manners. I'm Rachel. Here, new mouth, take this meat. Freshly cooked.
Well, unfortunately, that's going to Brogar.
Brogar wants a haunch of fried meat.
And he sent you to get it for him? Lazy devil. Well, I've already given you some meat, so you can sort Brogar out yourself.
Well, speaking of, I've got meat for you, but now I don't know if I want to give it, since you're not as generous as I was feeling.
I need to talk to the Don.
Join the queue. I'm thinking of joining it myself. You can talk to me. When Esteban's busy, and he's always busy, I'm in charge.
Noted.
I apologize for something I just noticed. I don't know if I can turn it off in-game. I seem to have left the... Oh, you shouldn't be seeing this. I seem to have left the FPS counter on the screen. Can I turn it off now? Sure can. Look at that.
But can you get me in to see him?
No. Look, he needs time alone to think. I'm always having to turn people away, even his good friends. Why would I make an exception for a newcomer?
You mean apart from my rugged good looks?
Believe me, I've seen better.
Ouch.
Unless you have something really important for the Don, you aren't going to get to see him. I don't like the situation. I'm his wife and I don't get to see him. But it's his wishes, and we have enough trouble around here without looking for more. Oh, you're back, are you? Well, what do you want this time?
I'm back. I never left.
How are things around here?
Perfect. I don't know why we didn't move out of the town into the swamp earlier. The Inquisition are sucking the life out of the town, but this swamp is sucking the life out of us. We used to be close, all of us. Everyone made their share, worked for their share. Now it's falling apart. And with Esteban and that damn temple, I'm the one trying to hold it together.
Can I help?
And why would you want to do that? What do you want, new mouth?
I want you to learn how to use commas.
Cutthroats, idle thieves and mosquitoes. Why do you want in on this?
Why do you think things are falling apart here?
It's those ruins. They've got everyone's mind on treasure. even my Esteban. The whole place is being dug up, although I'm certain that not everything that's being found is being delivered to the camp. Esteban makes sure that all the workers get a share of the gold. He's very fair like that. But someone is looking to line their own pockets.
Say it ain't so.
Who do you think it is lining their own pockets? And what would happen to them if you knew who it was?
He'd be dead. Esteban's not a forgiving man.
So it seems. You think the Don is losing control?
He's a complicated man. The Inquisition's takeover of Harbour Town shook him up badly. All we've got is this place, and it's fragile, especially at the moment. I really don't need someone stirring up trouble.
You sound like you need help. What if I help out?
You do that? But, well, if you really want to stick your hand in this beehive, you're welcome to. We can certainly use the help. Everything seems to have ground to a halt. Go to the camp lieutenants and see what sort of problems they're having. That should help you get a picture of what's happening here. Maybe we can root out the source of this rot before it reaches Esteban.
Oh, one can hope.
About your camp. I was told you're short of food. You need more meat?
Finally, someone who wants to do some work. Yes, I need 10 haunches of raw meat. You bring me the meat, and I'll put a little gold your way.
I never say no to gold.
Well, behold my haunches.
Here, 10 haunches of meat, as requested.
Thanks. These are pretty good cuts. Looks like you've got a skill for hunting. Here's your gold.
Hunting doesn't pay that well, then.
Take it or leave it. That's what you're getting, and it's enough to fill your stomach or get you drunk. Your choice.
How about fill my stomach with booze?
So who are the lieutenants here?
If you can't find that out yourself, how are you going to help me? Just go and talk to everyone. You'll find them. You'll soon see who's in charge and who thinks they are.
Well, it seems like everybody thinks they are. Nobody's answering to old Donald.
Here, a haunch of fried meat.
Good. You wouldn't want to see me when I ain't been fed.
Can't be any uglier than you are when you are fed.
Got any proper work for me?
Are you actually good for something, little fish?
Easy to be cocky with that weapon and fancy armor of yours.
Nah, it's all the bodies I buried that make me cocky. 2 of my boys are supposed to be guarding the eastern swamp farm, but Clay's been lazing around the campfire. Go and see him. Make sure he takes over from Phil before Phil rots up there. Simple. I'm not losing another man to this fucking swamp.
Get Clay to take over from Phil. Sounds simple enough.
The farm's over to the east. As it's a simple job, I'll assume you'll get it done.
Do you boys do anything other than stand about all day?
They're guarding. What do you expect? When it comes to standing around all day, these guys are the best. Trained killers, though, the lot of them. And if those creatures from the temples march in here, you'll be damn glad of them. So, show a little respect.
The fighters answer to you, right?
Yeah. Most of them owe their lives to me. One way or another, they know not to mess with a big fish.
So you know where they are at all times?
Course. Well, usually. One of them has gone missing. Dorgan was on an errand for me, down in the swamps. The pillock's probably got himself lost. Or eaten. Or he's chasing wenches again. Never could keep his mind on the task in hand.
Oh, chasing swamp winches. Just another Friday afternoon. So be careful of this. I don't like that this dialogue option tends to move around in the dialogue lists here. If you click on that, you basically refuse to do his quests anymore. Now, you don't have to do all his quests. Obviously, we want to do it for the XP. But there's also the implicit suggestion that we're trying to butter him up. Since, well, it doesn't exactly take a genius to realize that the one stoking all the trouble here is the one sitting on top of the shit pile.
I'll look for him.
When I get my hands on him, he's going to be emptying piss pots for the next month.
I didn't think you guys had the luxury of piss pots out here. I assumed you just pissed into the swamp. Can't make the mud any muddier.
You see why people don't stand up to Brogar?
A few bruises won't stop me.
You're lucky it wasn't stab wounds.
His armor and those fighters make him feel tougher than he is.
For you, maybe. For me, that's why I don't tangle with him.
The bruises comment always weirded me out, because that implies that, like, Brogar was gonna beat us up. Or had beat us up, but that actually never happens. In my experience, I can't think of any way you can actually piss him off enough to just attack you on the spot.
Brogar is a big fish in a small pond.
And those are giant words. So big, I don't think you know what you're saying.
I know some people wouldn't have a problem if he disappeared.
I won't be responsible for what Brogar would do to you.
Let me worry about that.
You should worry. But you're serious, aren't you?
What would I have to do to deal with him?
If you work for him, do what he tells you, and listen to everything he says. He'll let things slip. But you do know what you're proposing is dangerous.
About Brogar. Who knows about Brogar and wouldn't mind talking to me?
Talk to Lewis, one of my hunters. He knows a few things, more than you'd think. Start with him, see what he says.
How can I become one of the Don's men?
Firstly, I'll need to tell you a couple of things. The Don's a powerful man. Well, he was. Since we've been in this swamp, he's hidden in that temple. Hasn't been out for weeks. His wife Rachel's been trying to run the camp. She's the one you need to impress if you want to meet the Don.
Rachel. Right.
Before you charge up to her, you need to be aware of...
Brogar?
You're learning.
I'm aware of him.
About Brogar. How does Rachel feel about him?
She's soft. Brogar bullies her, and she's like that even though the Don's behind her.
I need some better armor.
You won't find it out here. There's only workers' clothes here.
Well, what about your armor? Where did that come from?
Armor for the hunters and fighters comes from the Don. But you won't get close to that if you're not accepted as one of us.
Right, so I've got to join the Don's gang first. All right. Where can I get workers' clothing?
Hawkins is your man. He's one of the Don's lieutenants. He's in charge of the workers.
I could help you.
Helpful sort, aren't you? You better not have landed me in it with Brogar. But then one's trouble is another's ease. Rachel needs this meat, so she'll be happy. Take note. Sometimes it's better to take sides than end up in the middle.
Oh, sorry. For some reason that line confused me. The way he said it made it sound like he was giving me meat, but no, he's just mentioning, I guess implying that the camp needs to be fed, ergo we need to get the hunters hunting again.
Why can't I get to talk to the Don himself?
If you can't get Rachel on your side, maybe you could get past the guard at the temple. Maybe.
Sounds like it could be worth a try.
True, but it's a long shot. Rachel might be your best way in.
Now, it's one of those unusual occasions where what he implies, what he says implies that there is a way in that way. But in reality, you cannot get past the guard at the temple gate. He's... My cat's squawking at me. He's too good at his job. Like, he stops you dead in your tracks. You can't sneak around him. The only option you have for getting past the guard into the temple is to use a distraction spell, such as Tell Joke or Cast Illusion. Neither of which we have at this point. You can find them around in the world somewhere. But even if that happens, everyone else inside the temple will attack you once you get in there. And Don himself will not speak to you because you're not following the rules. So there's absolutely no reason to do that. No advantage. And it just gets you into trouble.
About your hunting. I met a hunter called Yan. You haven't mentioned him.
He got himself posted as a guard on the road to Harbour Town. We never see him back here these days. That's another hunter less feeding the camp.
What can you tell me about your hunters?
Well, there's Lewis. Haven't seen him for days. I expect he's under a rock in the swamp. Not even the swamp flies bother him when he's had a skinful. Doug should also be in the swamp. He should be hunting. I haven't seen him for days either.
He's like 10 steps away, dude.
Tasks I have to do.
Doug has been successful. He's given me some meat for the camp.
We needed that. You better take it to Rachel if you haven't given it to her already.
Can you teach me to hunt?
Sure you wouldn't rather chop wood?
I was thinking more of hunting.
Then you're talking to the right man.
Can you teach me about hunting?
Alright, so you get a fair amount here. Sneak is a useful skill in this game. However, I actually don't recommend you learn it here because there is, strangely enough, a ring that you can find later in the game that gives you this skill. Obviously, you have to have it equipped the whole time in order to use it, but since Sneak is a situational skill to use, you don't really need any of your attribute boosting rings or anything like that. So it's just more convenient to swap it out. You don't have to waste learning points, and you don't have to waste a little bit of gold there. However, gutting animals is a useful skill in general. This gets you a lot of extra money, and it's you'd be well advised to get it early because that just means you're not wasting the potential for skinning animals with all the enemies you're fighting early on. Now, I'll elaborate a bit more on that in a second.
Show me how to gut animals.
You slit the prey from the head toward the back. Then you pull the hide from the body with a jerk. With the right equipment, you can also remove animals' horns or teeth. Many hunters will sell you the necessary tools.
Now, I always appreciated in early Piranha Bytes games that these skills, when you're taught them, they actually explain them in a way. It adds a bit of flavor text, a bit of, bit of interest to learning skills. It's all superficial, but it's nice enough. Sadly, the descriptions that NPCs give just seem to get simpler and simpler as the games went on. And now they basically just don't do that anymore.
Can you teach me about hunting?
To be honest, I'm not a very good teacher. I just sort of have an instinct for it. Lewis is your man. He taught me. Ask him.
Lewis? Right. Let's trade.
So, what he meant, Stan? What was his name? I've already forgotten. What he mentioned about, getting other trophies, what you actually need are the tools. Now, Doug here sells 2 of the tools. Wing shears and jaw chisel. Now, the wing shears are not super helpful, because basically the only thing you get from this are the wings of moths. And that's not really the most helpful thing in the world. But the jaw chisel, I guess, is only for rotworms. I feel like there's other monsters you can use it on too. But that's kind of the odd thing. I actually don't remember if you need a knife to get... Because there's an item called a skinning knife. And I'll be honest, I've completely forgotten whether or not you actually need it to get skins. I feel like you do not. Anyway, those are expansive. I'm not sure I want them right now. But at the same time, there's not a whole lot I'm going to be spending money on at this point. Because I think this is more or less the best weapon I can equip without upgrading any of my stats. And as I've said before, I don't intend to spend any learning points until the point in the game where you have to pick a guild, because I'm going to be showing off all 3 guilds, and there's really no reason to spend any learning points until then, because I don't want to have to play through the intro again just to do the other ones. So now I have those, and I have a lot less money. We shall manage. Now with my quick save not working, I'm going to have to go old school Gothic style and do manual saves every time.
Hey.
Lost, are you? Don't you worry about it. I'll take care of you.
Who are you?
Craig. And if you want a fortune in gold, I'm your man.
Your job is to distribute wealth.
Exactly. I arrange little wagers, you give me your gold, and you could double it.
What odds do you offer?
You're interested. Listen up, I'll explain. You give me a sum in gold. If you win, I'll pay you back double.
And if I lose?
There are no losers, only future repeat gamblers. I'll just keep your gold warm until you want to try and win it back.
And can I be sure you'll pay out if I win?
Oh, you of little faith. I'm hurt. If I wasn't honest, do you think I'd last 2 minutes around here?
How do I place a bet?
Oh, nothing easier. We bet on anything here. Who'll be the next worker to get eaten by a swamp creature? The next winner in the arena? Anything. You can even bet on yourself. If you want to go into the arena.
I like how he adds that last bit as if it's a, matter-of-fact thing. That's the only thing you can actually bet on in this game. Everything else he mentioned is not available.
People fight for gold.
Don't sound so surprised. People have fought for gold since time began. There's a small arena over in the west. That's where it happens. I bet you're worth a gamble. Tough-looking fella like you.
Which of the fighters here are the best?
Based on recent form, Ricardo's a loser. Lorenzo isn't too sharp either. Used to be all right. Faded a bit these days. I'd say Domingo is probably the best in camp.
Is there somewhere around here I can train for combat?
I wouldn't normally do this, but I'll train you if you like. Always good to get the inside skinny, in case you go into the arena.
Tell me more about the arena.
It's all friendly. Just a few bruises and broken limbs. It isn't to the death. It's where we train and test ourselves. Well, if you fancy a fight, just challenge one of our fighters. If he accepts, he'll go into the arena with you. The fight starts when both willing volunteers are in the arena with their weapons drawn. The first fighter to go down loses.
That's clear enough.
Clear as it gets. Now, unfortunately, what I just said a minute ago, which is that I won't need money anytime soon, was immediate egg on my face, because you actually need money to place any of these bets.
I decided to fight in the arena.
That's what I wanted to hear. Well done. Do yourself proud. Remember, once either man hits the ground, the fight's over. Carrying on when your opponent's on the dirt, well, that's not fair play, is it? You'll pay dearly if you break that rule.
Right. Does Brogar ever fight in the arena?
You looking to lose bits of yourself? Just asking would be risking your skin. Forget it. That's my advice.
Why?
He's not one to mess with. Arena fighting's a game. Brogar doesn't play games.
Neither do I.
Oh, I'm playing this game.
You'd be a good opponent. Why don't you fight me in the arena?
I should have seen that coming. Think about it. This is my domain. I even bet on myself. Well, you got spirit, but try someone easier.
Now, you don't necessarily have to do characters in a certain order, but Craig himself, at least, won't fight you until you've gotten a few other fights under your belt.
I want to make a bet.
Fabulous. What do you want to gamble on?
So these are your choices. And the wagers are fixed for some reason. You don't get a choice of how much you want to bet. And the odds are always 2 to 1. Which is a bit strange. You would think the odds would be different depending on the skill gap. But I guess they just don't play that way. Now, I'm not going to do any of these yet. We'll do the arena fights kind of in order later on.
I don't like faces I don't know well.
I don't like faces without eyebrows.
And your face is too pretty. Slap some makeup on you and you could work the brothels.
You know I'm new here, then?
Shiny skin, gormless expression. You're not the first. It's the heap of gold in the temple. It sucks in idiots like flies to shit. But there's no one round here that wants to split their share of the Don's gold any further.
You're a fighter, right?
I took the advice my teacher gave me. Find something you like and make it your job.
What's the Don going to do with the gold? Invest in swampland?
We might be stuck here now, but we're not going to be here forever. Once those religious nutcases are gone, Harbour Town will be ours. Then you'll see.
What are the Inquisition doing in the town?
Pretty face. Shame you're thick as pig shit with it. They only need the town to give them a supply route. The real work happens in the monastery. fuck knows what they do up there.
And you don't think it would be a good idea to find out?
You're the nosy fucker. Why don't you knock on the door and ask them? Let's see how many questions you've got after they work you to death in the temple ruins.
Live here, die there. You know, there's an ocean full of beautiful desert islands. Where did the Don get all his gold?
See that temple? We took it. And guess what? It was full of gold and artifacts and stuff. Now it's full of guards, an ogre, and surrounded by us. There are temples all over the island. Why don't you bugger off and find your own?
You just walk in and take the gold from the temple ruins.
Yeah, it's that simple. Go on, try it. Then you'll see the beasts that come charging out of those ruins. You have to deal with them before you get to the shiny stuff.
So you've cleared all those creatures out of the ruins?
Keen to see them, are you? All right. We'll go to a temple ruin nearby. You help me deal with the creatures there, then you can get your share of the gold.
What's the catch?
There's no catch. We clear the place and split the rewards.
How do we split the gold?
50-50.
I'll think about it.
All right, but don't take too long.
I'll take as long as I damn want. Now, I don't have a lot of positive things to say about the armor design in this game. Personally, I think everything's a bit too chunky and a bit too not practical looking. The biggest thing that bugs me are the belt buckles.
She was worth every penny.
Notice how the buckle itself just seems to float there, and the leather belts just kind of stick to it. Like, it doesn't even go through the, like, shackle bit. Like, Piranha Bytes, you gotta figure out how, like, apparel works. Belts don't just have a floating buckle. Look down at your waist once in a while.
Hey, you don't look like the rest of the Don's men.
Me? I'm the one the rest of them treats like dirt. Day in, day out, me and my workers try our best. And they need us, the bosses. But do they realize that? I wish they'd come and see what it's like. See if they like being eaten by swamp worms.
Are you in charge of the workers here?
Yeah, I'm supposed to oversee the workers at the excavations. The morale is so low that the men don't care anymore.
Why is it so bad here?
We keep losing men to the worms. And there are even worse fates, too. I'd rather be anywhere else. But we have to collect anything made of gold and take it to Beppo.
Beppo?
I expect to have to fight the monsters here. We're not trained for it. And that bastard Brogar should be protecting us. But do his fighters ever come and help? Do they, hell? Too drunk, most of them.
So the excavations have stopped?
They won't be happy when they find out. The Don's supposed to be a fair man, but Brogar isn't, and he should be protecting us. If any of my men were good at fighting, they'd have gone long ago. They'd be living it up in the bars and brothels of Harbour Town.
I can talk to Brogar for you.
Don't. It'll only cause trouble. We've tried everything. Brogar's not going to listen to you.
What can you tell me about Brogar?
Nothing. I'm not telling you anything. I don't want trouble.
You've already got trouble.
Yeah, but I'm not dead. I'd rather take my chances with the worms than get Brogar angry.
Brogar can't be that bad.
Brogar is all bad. Ask the hunters. They'll tell you what he's capable of.
Well, I offered to help.
You've been saying a lot of things about him for somebody who doesn't want to say anything about him.
Are any of your workers around?
They should all be at the excavation site. But that doesn't mean they will be. You'll recognize them. They'll be wearing workers' clothes, even if they've got no intention of working. Uncontrollable, most of them. That's what the swamp and being ignored does to you.
You really have given up, haven't you?
Well, you would in my position. It's hopeless. Hopeless.
Hopeless isn't a word I use. Maybe I can do something to help. How many excavation sites are there?
3. 1 east of the temple, and 2 right in the middle of the swamp. Look for the artifact crates. They mean you're in the right place.
Right. If I'm going to take action, I'll need better armor.
I can give you workers' clothes, that's all. And you'd have to pay. After all, you're not a worker. Why should I clothe you?
We're all stuck on this island in this swamp together. We might as well help each other. I'll see if I can get your workers back to work.
You won't. If I can't, what chance does a stranger have?
So that's the weirdest thing about the armor that he's offering. You don't even get the chance to buy it until you've already done all the work for him. But, even worse, it's really expensive for what it is. I actually don't recommend it. Now, had I had some foresight, there is a way to get some free armor early on. It's not very good, and it frankly doesn't really make much difference. But you can get it from the farm that Jan pointed us at in the first episode. The one in the direction of Harbor Town that's being tilled by novices from the monastery. It's actually worse than the workers' clothes that he's offering, but close enough that it doesn't make a difference. And it's free. But I'll just pick that up when we're in the neighborhood instead. Now, there are more people to talk to. Like I said, this episode is pretty much going to be nothing but chat. So, let's get through it.
You look relaxed.
The busy mosquito is swatted at dawn. The happy snail does nothing but yawn. We're in a swamp. What's there to make an effort for?
Surviving, eating, staying alive.
The Don just lets you relax.
Never see him. Beppo's always chasing us to hump crates round. All that effort for what? A pile of old crap. Hawkins is my boss, and if Hawkins doesn't care, Beppo can go screw himself. And Hawkins doesn't care about anything.
Right. Hey, Dwight, you need to start shifting those crates over to Beppo.
And who are you to be telling me what to do?
Hawkins. He's not happy with you standing around.
Really? Then he should come here and tell me personally. But he won't. So, save yourself the effort.
Ooh.
Maybe later. All right?
I have made a mistake. That was not the dialogue option to choose. Was it? I don't think you can actually fail that quest, so I must be missing something. Maybe we have to talk to old Beppo first. Now, Beppo, aka Beppo, is standing right here outside the gate. So I guess we're all in the neighborhood. I'll just show you what it looks like when you try to run inside.
Stop where you are. You ain't going another step closer to the Don.
Guarding. Guess that's a really important job.
Most important in the camp. I make sure people don't just stroll in to see the Don. He's very against strolling in. And I'm not pissing Rachel off or I won't get any grub. So, move along.
How do I get permission to speak to the Don?
The Don is busy. He's thinking. Talk to his wife, Rachel. She's in charge.
Right, I'll go and talk to her then.
I ain't got no work for you. Go and see Sam or Hawkins and stop bugging me. Stop where you are.
Now, if you try to do it repeatedly, you're inviting quite a bit of trouble.
Stop where you are. Hey, are you deaf or what? Beat it. Right, time to think you know what happens next.
He won't be getting up anytime soon.
And a few coins for me.
Fight.
So, oh, that was a bit janky. So for your reference, getting knocked down, as long as it's not a truly hostile character, they'll just knock you down. But when they knock you down, they steal all your money, and they'll also pick up any weapons that you drop. So bear that in mind. That carries over from the Gothic days of yore. And you don't want to do that.
I have guards on the door for a reason. I don't wish to be disturbed. Leave me. Leave now.
Like I said, if you had a distraction spell, you could distract him, but everyone inside would attack you as soon as you walk in anyway, so it really is no help whatsoever.
Hey.
Hey, what? You better be from Hawkins. I need those crates moving.
I've just arrived here. I'm not from anyone.
Lazy, more like. Bet you never done a decent day's work in your life.
What crates?
The ones full of artifacts. What else are we moving? Damn Hawkins. His workers should have delivered them by now. I knew it was too much responsibility for the old coot.
So you're in charge of moving boxes, right?
They're not just any old boxes. They're full of artifacts from the excavation sites. They get dug up, they come to me, and then they go to the Don.
Oh, so you're not even moving boxes for yourself, then?
When you get an important role here, then you can make jokes. Until then, shut your bleeding mouth.
What's in these artifact crates?
Puppies.
Who?
Artifacts, what do you think, genius? Everything that's dug up from the ruins gets crated up, but keep your mitts off them. If you're looking for gold, then do some work. You dig for the Don, then you'll get your share.
I'll think about it.
Now what I dig for myself, and the whole share is mine.
Let's talk sensibly. I could help you get your crates.
Think you can? All right. We'll get going and get them moving.
No sense in asking if you know the magic word.
What magic word? Here, you're not with that Inquisition lot, are you? Look, I'll have no magical nonsense around here.
Where are these crates you want moved?
At the excavation site, but they should be here. I swear, those workers are being slack just to wind me up.
Well, it's not hard to do. And you make it quite amusing. Ooh, free beer. Now, actually, it's sensible to pick up these beers. We're going to need them later. And anything that's out in the open is usually fair game. Anything that's in an indoor area, you cannot snatch without it being a crime. So bear that in mind. If it's in a house or anywhere really under a roof, not this awning doesn't count, I guess, then it is theft. The game doesn't warn you what it's theft, just bear that in mind. So now we should be able to talk to Dwight. I think that was the only thing holding it up. He wasn't concerned with Hawkins, but now we have Beepos.
Would it be dangerous to us?
Go ahead.
No more peace. I'm sure you have other things to do.
Apparently I don't.
How are we going to eat?
Interesting.
All the farmers are in the town, no hunters are going out.
Failure. Put your weapon down.
You can run.
Batter him!
I didn't mean to hit that idiot. And that idiot's gonna attack me. Alright, so, turns out I was right. So back to 1. See, this is what happens when I don't play ahead.
That worker, Dwight, really doesn't care about your orders.
He's a lazy sod. And Beppo will go mad if he doesn't get those artifact crates soon.
What do you suggest?
Someone needs to give Dwight a beating. That's what I'll get for him not working.
About time you took that attitude.
Me? I'm not a fighter. I'm not doing it.
And you wonder why things are like they are.
Alright, I'll be honest. I was halfway through getting back to this point when I realized
All the farmers are in the town, no
that you may have the chance to go back to him.
You want me to ask nicely? Move those crates.
You never heard that them that rushes to toil are the quickest to spoil?
Have you ever heard those that refuse to depart get a boot up their arse?
All right. No need to speak twice when once will do. I'm going, okay?
Well, it seemed like speaking twice was necessary. In fact, it took speaking thrice. Alright, so there you go. I guess normally, if you choose another dialogue option, you don't have to go back to Hawkins to get him moving. And that's the way I've always done it. But I didn't do it this time because I guess I just do things differently for the walkthrough. But now we know. Alright, so this here's Clay. Clay is the fellow that Brogar told us we gotta get moving. take over for Phil up by the farm up there. I'm going to hold off on that because he's a bit of a tough fight. Not undoable, but I'll save the fighting for later. Now notice this texture on the ground is quite a bit different than everything else around. It looks a bit more loose soil than everything else. Well, there's a reason for that, and there's a reason there are 2 shovels stuck in the ground on either side of it.
A little more for me.
Now, to head off the obvious question, yes, you have to watch that entire animation every single time you dig something up. But we got a nice light spell and 40 jolts. So that's nice. Might as well chat with old Beepo, let him know that the crates are being hauled.
I sorted out your crate delivery problem.
Really? Well, thanks. Good to see someone's applying themselves. Tell you the truth, I ain't sure why the Don wants all this gold. Ain't like there's much to spend it on in a swamp.
Not that I've seen.
Anyway, you've put me in a generous mood. Here's a little advance on your share.
Hooray! It's something.
Are you the local blacksmith?
Blacksmith? I look like I spend my days making fucking horseshoes. I'm a pewterer, a gilder, a worker of fine metal. And I'm not looking for an apprentice. Particularly one that doesn't know the difference between a metal worker and a smith.
Do I look like an apprentice?
You don't look like you've got the coin to be a customer. What you want?
Do you need help? I'm looking for work.
No one here looks for work. The only thing people here look for is gold. And you don't look like you're any different.
Well, maybe I'd like to work for my gold.
Do you work with gold?
Gold. Gold. Nothing but gold. You just see the money in it, don't you? Well, there's no point you thinking about getting wealthy here. Every crumb of gold out there belongs to the Don.
Everyone has to give their gold to the Don.
If you know what's healthy for you, once a month you have to take the Don his share.
And how much is his share?
You see anyone round here looking wealthy?
Not unless mud is the local currency.
Well, you should see the gold he has in his temple. Hordes of it. Ha! I can see that look in your eye. Fancy a slice, do you? You'll end up in pieces with those thoughts in your head.
How do I get to see the Don?
What do you want to see the Don for? Try standing on a tree outside the temple. You're not going to get closer than that.
There must be some way to see the Don. Something he wants.
If it doesn't glitter, he doesn't give a toss. I wouldn't be surprised if one day he had his wife gold-plated.
Is there something he wants then? Something in gold he doesn't have?
We've found a sword pommel. Beautiful bit of work. Supposed to belong to some garrison commander before he pissed off an ogre. You find the blade for that pommel, the Don'd kiss your hairy ass. Fuck it, I would too.
I'll find the blade the Don wants.
You want to look for it, be my guest. But you take one piece of that blade for yourself, one bit of glittering gold, I'll hear about it.
I wouldn't dream of it. Where can I find this sword blade the Don wants?
If you believe the stories, the ogre dragged the garrison commander off where those temple ruins are. If anyone has found anything there, they're bound to shoot their mouth off. Particularly seeing as those bits of blade will be covered in gold. There's a pisshead called Lewis, reckoned he'd seen something, but he's a sack of shit.
So you want to restore the sword for the Don?
If I can get all the pieces. Can't do jack shit without all the pieces.
I'm looking for new weapons.
Looking is for losers. Paying gets you the goods.
Have you got any sword blanks?
It's just what I got here. My stock of ore is empty. You bring me some iron ore, I can make you some blanks.
I want to trade some iron ore for some sword blanks.
Piece of piss. Tell me what you want.
How much iron ore do you want?
Say 8 lumps. If you just want a basic one-handed sword, 10 for a bastard, 12 for a two-handed.
So that's the interesting trading dynamic for smithing weapons around here. To make any weapons in this game, you need sword blanks, and there isn't a whole lot that you can make. It's very basic compared to, I'd say, what the previous 2 Gothic games had. Obviously more advanced than what Gothic 1 had, since that had 1 sword that you can make. But they're continuing with they're continuing with the concept of a sword blank that they started in Gothic 3, which is not how making swords works. You can't just have something already in the shape of a sword and then just finish it by hammering it a few times. Like, there's a reason swords and pretty much anything forged from metal starts from an ingot, because hammering it into shape is an important part of hardening it to make sure it doesn't break as soon as you hit something. But we're not getting into the science of forging and metallurgy here today.
What have you got to trade?
So he's got a bunch of weapons for you, and we can't use any of them because they require more strength than I'm gonna get. Be how it is. Doesn't really matter, I can't afford much regardless. Alright, so we've spoken with most of the players out here. But I'm gonna have a chat with somebody who's chilling up this way. This is one of the easiest guys to miss if you're not just in the habit of exploring every nook and cranny. He's just kind of chilling up here.
What are you doing up here?
Hiding.
Doesn't anyone do anything in this camp?
Look, don't get me wrong, I'm a worker. Man of the earth, me. There's nothing fancy about moving soil round, but work is what I do best.
Tell me about your work.
About digging? Well, like I say, it may be dirty work, but someone's got to do it. You fancy trying? Just look for a sandy spot in one of the excavation sites, then you stick your shovel in the ground and dig. Who knows? You might even find something.
So, what are you hiding from?
Work.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I'd like to be working, only I can't. You see all these huge insects turned up at the excavation site. I'm not going back to work while they're still there. I like my job, but I'm not going to die for it.
Which fighters are responsible for protecting the excavation site?
Just Ricardo, but I've not seen him there for a while. Don't think he cares much about us workers.
He'll care if the work doesn't get done, and he ends up doing it.
Something tells me he's not going to end up doing it.
I'll take care of those insects.
You? Why not let the fighters do it? And that's what they're there for.
Do you see any here, though? I'll take care of it. I'll have a word with him.
Okay. But don't tell him I told you. He's almost as bad as those creatures.
What do you know about a sword? A golden one?
Well, I've heard stuff. And I thought I may have found a piece of it back at the excavation site.
Have you still got it?
I was about to dig it out when those insects came.
I wonder if it's still there.
Should be. I don't see the insects with their wings and feelers picking it up. I want to test something that I actually haven't tested in a while. Okay. So you can murder the chickens and nobody cares. Bit odd that they have chickens just kind of sitting around here. Not enough to really get eggs to feed the, feed the crew with. And they aren't really doing anything to protect or to restrain them from just walking off and getting eaten. Hence why I've eaten them. So, this is the excavation site that Ricardo mentioned and Enrico mentioned. Was it Enrico? Or is Enrico a different guy? I'm not paying much attention. But these are what we gotta kill. And as we've said before, you really don't want to try and aggro a bunch of them at once. If you really want to, you can pull them back there, and the fighters will take care of them. Obviously, you're gonna lose out on the XP if they're the ones deal the killing blows. So we can try to do... I actually don't remember how their aggro works, if they're all gonna pull if I do it this way. Yes, they are. At least these three are. These ones, yeah, they're a bit easier than other ones we're gonna find in the swamp, so that's convenient at least. They're balanced for this point, where you'll be encountering them. Where's the other one going? I clearly killed a third. I only looted two. Oh well. But you saw that I was picking up wings from them this time, which I was not getting before. That's thanks to my wingy shears. So there you go. Now, these are only worth 20 apiece. I actually don't remember if seeing it in the loot window is the sell price or the buy price. So we'll check that and see how long it takes to pay off the wing shears that we purchased. So he says he was about to dig it up, but he actually did dig it up, and it's right there. But as he said, keep your eye out for the loose patches of sandy soil. There's only one here. And once you know it, there's, again, a bunch of shovels around it. Well, shovels and picks. But once you kind of have your eye in, the diggable soils stand out quite a bit.
Me.
One thing that never ceases to bug me is the fact that the thud sound when he drops the chest on the ground is half a second later than the animation. Okay, so we got an axe fighter ring. That doesn't really help us, because I shan't be axing. Now that there that we found, you may easily overlook it, but this useless amulet. Believe it or not, it does have a use. Ah, okay, stay away from that fellow. That guy there is a real mofo. Bog body. Now, they're not impossible to kill. They basically fight like an NPC. They're essentially the zombie of Risen, because there really aren't zombies otherwise. But they just use human NPC animations and models, basically. But you hear that he's doing the same thing, grunting with the Gothic 3 voices when you hit him in the back, which is hilarious. But yeah, so like I said, they fight like an NPC. So as long as you're good at fighting NPCs, get enough practice with that, they're not difficult to fight. Problem is, he blends in with the grass, so you really don't want to fight him in the tall grass here. There you go. Dealt with. There sure are a lot of picks and hoes and shovels around here. Seems like way more tools than there were workers to use them. Oh boy. That wonderful slicky sound of a rotworm. Now, one thing I wanted to address in the opening, I'm not sure why it just never crossed my mind, but the backstory of this character here never gets explored in-game. It's a bit strange. He does mention now and then that he was a stowaway on the Inquisition ship, but he doesn't mention where he came from. And that used to be described in more detail on the Risen website, which doesn't exist anymore, so that's no help. And I forgot the name of the island he was supposed to have come from until I was just Googling it, trying to find some sign of the old website, like an archive or something. It might even be on an archive somewhere, but I didn't look that deeply. Instead, I found, inexplicably, someone made a Minecraft skin for this character and gave the part of his backstory that was on the website. And he came from an island called Goris, apparently. And it's not explained why he left. Why he's stowed away on an Inquisition ship to get away. I do think one of the details is simply that islands like that were under the yoke of the Inquisition, much like this one became. Hello. And for some reason, he thought maybe he would seek better fortunes elsewhere, I guess. As far as Sarah, see, the battle music was going, so I knew something was coming. As far as Sarah, the woman who was with us, no idea what her story is either. She has even less going on. The fact that she was in the intro cutscene made her such a prominent character that I feel like she was meant to have more of a role than just being a tutorial character. I'm not sure if that got cut down or they just never really ended up exploring it.
Hey.
Who are you? What do you want? I'm not going back. I won't. Tell them I won't.
Easy, easy. I'm not here to cause trouble.
That's what you expect me to believe. But as soon as my back's turned, you will drag me there, bury me again. Bury me with them.
Again? You were buried once?
You said you don't want to go back. Back to where?
Hawkins didn't send you. He wants me to go back digging there. But how can I go back? They will take me again.
Well, Hawkins does want you back at work.
I knew it, but I won't go. You can forget it.
You want something to be afraid of? Really afraid of?
There's nothing you can do that's close to what those spirits will do to me. I can't go back there. No one knows how to stop the Ancients. It's not courage I need. I'm not afraid. Staying away from them isn't about fear. Find someone else for the job. Send Dwight. He doesn't hear them. He doesn't believe. But you'd better know. The spirits will come for you. And there is no protection.
And spirits are so menacing, they stole your cutscene, your subtitles.
Who is them?
Them. The Ancients. They're everywhere. Just listen. The screams, the whispering. I wish I couldn't hear it. I wish they weren't speaking to me.
Take a few deep breaths. Relax, okay?
Can't you see? It's all around us. The panic, people dying, the creatures. Can't you see that? They will rise from their graves to avenge themselves on the living. The ruins that have risen from the ground. Who do you think made that happen? And they are but a herald. Soon they will show themselves. Then we will all be doomed.
Something is happening. But I've seen no evidence of spirits.
Can't even see my own face behind the grass.
What whispering? What are you talking about?
It's those temples. Rising from the ground. The voices came from them. Who is it whispering? The Ancients. All the things they find, the temples, they're from the Ancients. And those idiots want me to dig them up, to desecrate their graves. The Ancients have been disturbed. What do you think is causing these storms? And who knows how to fight them? Who knows what can stop them?
Aha. I have something that will protect you from the Ancients.
There is no protection.
That's not what the mages say. They've been searching for objects like this amulet, for a way to protect us all.
That's just a cheap necklace.
Have a closer look.
How can this protect me?
This is what people have been searching the ruins for. Answers. For protection.
And they found something?
Yes. Objects with the power of the Ancients, objects like this amulet, will protect you. The mages guarantee you'll remain 100% spirit-free.
Or your money back.
But we need to find more of these. More artifacts, so everyone can be safe.
Yes, yes, of course.
That's why it's important for you to have this. If we're to protect everyone, we need you to look for things at the excavation site.
Of course. Of course. I'll do it. I'll help protect everyone.
Poor Enrico. Probably sees more legitimate things than we realize, although maybe spirits is a bit much to describe them. Anywho, that's 2 of the 3 workers, and we should be able to convince the last fellow, whose name I've apparently forgotten since that was Enrico this whole time. But we got rid of the critters. He should be willing to get back to work. We can pick up our fee from Ricardo on the way.
Job done. You needn't worry about those things in the excavation site anymore.
You killed them? Right. 30 gold coins, wasn't it? Worth every one.
Thanks. Pleasure talking to you.
Right.
I'll look forward to our next conversation. Aren't you supposed to be protecting the excavation site in the swamp?
I am.
The worker, Brannan. He says he's been waiting forever for you.
I don't care about workers.
I can see why they made you a guard.
You useless prick. I don't know what you think you're guarding, if not the workers.
I'm afraid none of the fighters will come to help you.
Oh, yeah. I thought so. For fighters, they aren't very keen on fighting. Thanks for trying, though.
You can go back to work. The insects are gone.
Are they really gone?
Gone. Dead. Deceased.
Okay. You seem like the honest type. I'd best be getting back to work then.
Yes, you'd best. So that's all three of them. Thankfully, none of the nameless workers need to be individually dealt with. They just go with the flow. Let's get back to Hawkins. Wrap that business up.
Thought you might like to know Dwight's gone back to work.
He has? That's almost a miracle. But well done. Here, take these coins.
Your gratitude is boundless.
Wow. That wasn't even worth getting out of bed for.
Brannan has returned to work.
I saw. Good. Good work.
I thought you'd be pleased.
I am. Oh, take this. You deserve payment.
Enrico is back working at the excavation site.
How did you manage that?
Let's say he took some persuading, but saw sense.
Well, I suppose you need to have some gold for that.
Right. They're all back at work. Things should get moving now.
That is good work. That'll keep Beppo and his cronies off my back.
So there you go. $500 for his work clothes. Which offer you, I think, just 5 weapon protection. Which in the grand scheme of things, really is not much to speak of. Anyway, we're going to turn this into Rachel, and that'll about do it tonight, I guess.
About your camp. Your deliveries of artifact crates will be starting again.
Thanks. I didn't want to worry Esteban about that. Not after everything that's happened.
The workers had downed tools, but I've got Brannan and Enrico to start work again.
Good. One less worry. Here, take this. You'll need it.
By the way, the fighters are holding show fights in the arena.
Well, they need something to work out their aggression. Leave them to knock each other's brains out. It stops them bothering us.
Alright, now this bit about Craig, hold off on that. That can really stir the pot with Craig, and you get the chance to recover from it, but I don't 100% remember how that works. So I think I'll demonstrate that whole ordeal in the next episode.
Brogar is forcing Sam to work for him instead of hunting. He's sawing wood for Brogar's fire. That's why you've not been getting the meat you need.
Damn Brogar. I thought he was trying to undermine Esteban. He'd be nothing without the Don, and now I need that meat.
What do you want to do about it?
Me? You do what you can. There'll be a full-on rebellion if stomachs go empty. If you want to help out, get me meat and get Sam back out hunting.
I don't know why you think I have more authority than you do. But anyway, that'll do for tonight. I'm trying to keep these episodes around an hour at most, preferably a bit less. But, yeah, some of these episodes are just kind of going to be like that. There's going to be a lot of chat and a lot less action. But I'll try to punch a few things in even those episodes just to make sure that you aren't bored to tears. But for now, I don't intend to continue this trend that I started with Gothic 2 of months between episodes. But sometimes it's just going to be that way. Till next time, have yourselves a wonderful... Otis! Stop. Have yourselves a wonderful night. Stay safe, stay healthy, and so long.